Welcome back to Bottom Shelf Sports. Today is Tuesday, August 27th, week one college football. We are your hosts, Ethan Easy E. Dombrowski and Matthias Hoffman. If I had a nickname, I would insert it, but I am absolutely not a
We'll
nickname
get you
guy.
one. We'll get you one. It'll take time, but we'll
Ethan,
get you one.
how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. A couple soccer bets hit today. Robert Lewandowski, Barcelona. We're not going to get into that because this is a football podcast right now. So that's what we're focused on. But I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Back to back weeks, the first thing you said was soccer bets, and it's a different planet.
It's a different world. Somehow, like right now is the EFL Cup, and you get like warehouse guys versus millionaires, and I'm like, let's build a 10 team parlay of millionaires, and then you'll win $12 or whatever, nothing big, but still
How many
fun.
legs you're just doing parlays.
Not
Like
all the time, but like whenever I see these like heavy favorites, the only way to win money on like a minus 400 team is you got to put a couple of those together. And I
yeah,
just go maybe until I get like a plus 100. So it might be 4 or 5 teams, maybe six, but like yeah,
sweet. No one fucking cares, but that's awesome.
it's just trying to
It's a tough one.
yeah.
We are week one college football. Honestly, you look at the card. We were talking about this before we started recording. I think the NCAA intentionally. What's the opposite of juicing the schedule?
They I don't know what you would say the opposite is. They burned it.
It's just
It's not
they
fun. It's
know that
yucky.
people have been waiting for football, so they can get away with fairly subpar matchups. There's a few good ones, but at the end of the day, like the viewership's going to be through the roof, not because of matchups, because people are desperate to have football back.
100%. It doesn't matter what you put on the TV. Even there's a lot of like 30-point spreads, 28, 25, but I'm going to be sitting on this couch right here and I'm going to watch most of these games anyway. So they got me.
Speaking of that, I had a question.
What's up?
What is an acceptable reason to miss like a full slate of games on either college football Saturday or NFL Sunday?
Are we talking like a prime slate, like good games? Because this week is
Yeah, like bona fide, like 11 o'clock kickoff matchup, and then like into that 2, 3 o'clock window, and then a night game. Like basically, it's let's call it like 3 or 4 games
yeah.
towards the end of the season that all have substantial
So
like
like games
postseason
that matter,
implications.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, you really want to be locked in no matter where you're at, whether you've got one phone, two phones, or you got an iPad in front of you. You'll find a way to watch it if you care that much. And with ESPN having like where you can do the quad box and everything, I think
Which I guess you can select individual games now.
that's a new one this
Massive.
year. So I'm really excited for that.
Okay, let's say this. Let's say one of your top three friends from high school has a wedding that you committed to 6 months ago, not thinking about
Man.
a game slate.
And it's Chicago Bears taking on the Packers for playoff or the Central.
Yeah, okay, bingo. Yes, exactly.
That's one of those ones where it's tough because a large part of me is like, it's not happening. But
If he's a good enough friend,
yeah, you're
they
probably,
understand.
yeah, that's the thing is, but also if he understands, he wouldn't have made the wedding in week 13 of the NFL
Yeah,
season, knowing it's a big bear season.
yeah,
So yeah, I get that.
I agree. And it's super dead. Preseason wrapped up in NFL. College football week zero finished up. Not a lot of fireworks. We'll hit on that just a touch. Saw on Twitter, X, if you will, a lot of preseason stadium fights.
Ooh, ooh, yeah.
What's at what point is Ethan
Throwing
chucking
knucks.
knucks?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, they called me Mosh Goon because I
They
was
called him
chucking
Moshgun.
knucks in the pit. I mean, I've kind of given a guy a push at a White Sox game because he was an opposing fan, kind of jeering a bit too much. It's like, all right, man, settle down. But for me to go full on brawl, I don't know, man. It's
I can't
unlikely.
picture a world for myself
Yeah,
outside of like
no.
someone assaulting my wife. That's
Right.
it.
It's like it would really require some like vulgar things. Probably maybe if it's going on most of the game, like say it's the third quarter and this guy's been in my ear 2 seats behind me, just shouting the whole game. I might I might have to. to jump in.
And I think it's a build. It's like it doesn't go from everything's cool to you guys are fighting. It takes the whole game.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a long time of someone just being like, "Your team sucks," the whole
Yeah.
time in my ear. But otherwise, no, I'm not gonna fight.
I just saw a video and it was Raiders Niners and it was just
Yeah,
like
shocker,
I'm not talking
Raiders.
about like a like pushing dudes just throwing haymakers,
Yeah,
bloody faces.
bloodied them
It,
up. That
Go
was ugly.
Raiders! Like that's
Yeah,
all I could
right.
think was.
That's all it. Yeah, no, I've been to. I think I've seen 4 fights at White Sox games, and almost every time it was just White Sox on White Sox crime. So
Yeah,
it's we hate our team the most. So I'm not too
that
mad about
frustration
it.
it boils to a
It's-
point and it has to go somewhere.
yeah, no, I don't think I've ever seen like Bears fans like fighting each other. That doesn't seem like a thing.
I think Bears fans are very communal. If you're
Yeah,
an
yeah,
opposing fan, I think it's brutal. I think that's
right.
probably like if we did, which I guess future idea when it's dead, top five like stadiums you would not want to go to as an opposing fan.
Yeah.
Dude, I think Soldier Field's up there.
I think it's up there. I think Philly, unfortunately, Philly's going to take number one no matter what.
Yeah, that's
I'd be
probably
too
accurate.
scared. I mean, I remember when Minnesota, they went out there, and there's a video of this old lady, and she was like crying, leaving the stadium, talking about like they were screaming at her and throwing stuff at her, and I was like, yeah, that's Philly. That's Philly.
That's a different breed.
Yeah, you got to love your sports in a different way.
Yeah. We will jump into things here. Week 0, Ethan. I don't think you had any action, did you?
Not much. I just had the Georgia Tech. I took the spread twice. I think I got them at the +10, and then I waited in a bunch and got them at +3. And
Yeah.
then I decided during the game it felt like a money line. I think they're only like +110 by then, so I missed out on the good action, but that was the only game I really gave a hell about.
It's a warm up. Week 0 is the closest thing you get to, I guess, preseason in the NCAA.
Right.
I took Nevada +27.5, which cashed, and then I took Georgia Tech +11.5, which cashed. I just did a half unit on both of them. So starting out 2-0, we don't complain about 2-0.
There you go. There you go.
We will post our bets somewhere in this region. I've got a full card. We'll jump into it here. Ethan's got a lot of thoughts on this
Yeah,
first matchup.
right.
Chronological order. So basically, we've got 5 games here that I would call the marquee matchups for the
Right. Game
weekend.
of the week almost. Yeah.
Game,
Yeah.
yeah, game of the week. First one Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Boulder, Colorado.
Um,
Colorado taking on North Dakota State University. Ethan,
this
your
is
boys.
well, I've been prepared for this game all summer long. I have had my eye on this on the schedule. North Dakota State is going to walk in there and they're going to upset Colorado. They're going
Money
to
line, outright winners.
outright winners, outright winners. I do love the spread. Take the spread every which way you can get it. 10 if you can get it. I saw it. You can on DraftKings, you can get it -110 for a 10.5, which I mean, take the juice on it. That's going to get you somewhere. Um,
Right now, DraftKings 10 getting -112. So we
-112.
talked about this about an hour ago. I think if you're wanting to bet the spread for North Dakota State, I think you wait till an hour before kickoff because
Yeah,
public money should come in on Colorado.
yeah, you're probably going to get a lot of casuals who are going to come in and they're going to flood the gates with Colorado money. And I don't think Colorado fans are sitting up watching videos like this or watching for spread. They're just going to, once the game starts, they'll just be like, oh, we're going to win by whatever amount it's going to be. Um, Now, why will North Dakota State cover? If you want to be simple, they're the Alabama of Division Two. They've got a new head coach this year who's, I think, going to be an absolute dog. His whole thing is toughness, physicality, and discipline. That's the key because Colorado doesn't have discipline, and we know that. We've seen that. We witnessed it. The biggest win of our career or the most fun we had was against Oregon. That was when we had that game. That was a lot of fun. They've got North Dakota State has a quarterback, Cam Miller. Last year, he completed 72% of his passes, 19 touchdowns, 2,700 yards. He's not some nobody quarterback. Like, there's not been a lot of quarterbacks from North Dakota State because of the NFL. Cam Miller could be a guy. I could see him not going first round, but I mean, if he has a good year this year, he might be a guy who gets drafted in the same draft class as Shador Sanders. But I just think North Dakota State is a disciplined team, and they're going to go in there. This could be the biggest game they've had in 6 years or so. This is a huge game for them.
Pretty big game.
Yeah,
And if he went to the NFL, that'd be three. And
yeah.
I think they are Division One. I think it's like Division 1 2A is what
Right,
FCS is.
right.
But
It's
we were talking. You got Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, and this guy. I mean, you could have three
yeah,
potential
yeah,
first round quarterbacks.
right.
At what point, if you're a semi big recruit, what's the lowest you go to bowl school versus like a top contending team like a North Dakota State or
I
South
see
Dakota
what you
State?
mean. Yeah, it's typically like Carson Wentz. I don't remember if he was a big prospect by any means. I didn't hear his
I
name.
didn't know about him
No one knew.
until
Same with Trey Lance. Like no one knew
yeah.
those guys. But I think it's because you're going to get guys who are going to go to Wyoming. You're going to get guys who might even want to go to Boise State instead. It's not going to be easy to pull recruits to come to a Division 1 or a FCS school, but North Dakota State is the powerhouse of that conference. So
And that's the thing, like to your point, I think you go to North Dakota State because you want to go there. Like
yes,
those kids got offers elsewhere
oh,
for probably
100%.
larger schools, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure there's something about. I mean, what's there? There's no way there's like
There's
anything
not.
to offer in those two states. I've been through North
No,
and South
yeah.
Dakota. Rough,
I know
very rough.
North Dakota State plays in a dome, and it's kind of sick. And I'm sure their facilities are incredible. I mean, they've won. I think they've won 17 national titles, and that's not
Dang.
free. You don't not get paid from that. So I'm sure
Yeah.
some of that money has gone into the program, and they've continued to build and everything. And I mean, hell, they got the offensive coordinator from Wyoming came over to be the
Yeah.
head coach this year. So I think I'm excited. This is the most excited I am for all the games on the whole slate.
So Deion Sanders, you're not afraid of Deion prime time?
Um,
Cut the
get
bull
me
junk,
so
Ethan. You
yeah,
afraid of
get
him?
me on this guy. He can't handle any criticism whatsoever. He'll sit here and cry. He'll kick dudes out of the press
It's
conferences and
weird.
everything. It's so just jarring. Like he's the biggest smack talker, like on the field, and then now as a head coach, the biggest smack talker. But suddenly, a couple CBS guys say like, "Hey, you're not a good team," or it's like, all right, man, relax. Like Nick Saban's dealt with worse, I'm sure, but if you want to weather the storm, then like that's how you be a good head coach. And I think a lot of people are really sick and tired of it now. And I think there's going to be a good chunk of people on our side with this, North Dakota State. But for the casual watching this video right now, North Dakota State is not a team that's just going to roll over and let it happen. This isn't like they're playing FCS Southwest.
Yeah.
This is a real team who's going to come in. I'm not saying this is their championship, but this is the biggest game of their season this year. Until the playoffs, this is the biggest game by a mile.
Yeah. Colorado, I I've tried to not be a hater, and I don't hate the team. I kind of with all the stuff with Dion, I tried my best to root for him, but he's
Mm-hmm.
making it incredibly difficult. And I think he comes from a place of I think he's trying to do right by his players and everything like
Right,
that.
right.
So it's tough. Colorado is returning 16 starters, 8 offense, 8 defense. One of which is is it Shadoris?
We just call him Shadudu around here.
I, it's like once you hear someone like
Shador
ripping it, like that's
Sanders.
what's locked in. I just say
Yeah,
Shadudu Sanders.
yeah. It's
Um,
Shador. Yeah.
Probably a top 5 as far as Heisman odds go. A lot of people are saying that he might be the first quarterback taken next year in the draft.
Gross.
I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna bet this unless there's a half. I'm watching it right now. It's still sitting at 10. You can get Colorado at 9.5. Over under 59.5.
There's
I
going to be
think if I were,
fireworks.
I think if I were to make a bet right now, like you said, North Dakota State's new head coach, offensive minded. He's the first offensive minded head coach they've had
Yeah,
for a long time. Colorado's off or defense was kind of ass last year.
yeah, very
They came
much.
out last year's first game was TCU, and it was just fireworks back and forth. I think the over 59.5 is a pretty safe bet to make, but I will be waiting for the half. But Ethan,
Yeah,
I think Were you taking the 10 no matter what?
I think no matter what, I'm going to be on the 10. I'll be on the 9. I might be on the 8. I money
Pizza
line.
money line.
Yeah, I'm going to be all over North Dakota State. It's going to, if this thing is a blowout in the first quarter by Colorado, I'll give them their flowers on the next episode. But
Yeah.
I just don't see a way they're going to roll through a team who prepares like Alabama.
Yeah.
They're going to be ready for this.
That should be a good game. I'm pumped for it.
Very much.
I wonder if there'll be Lil Wayne and in company coming out of the tunnel like last
Oh,
year.
is
That
this
Colorado State game.
this is in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope if he's learned anything, Deion Sanders, that is, Disciple Sanders, if he's learned anything, it's gonna be to bring it down a notch. Bring it down.
Yeah.
You guys aren't celebrities. They didn't make a bowl game last year. They won four
No.
games, and this year
Correct.
I believe their over under was 6.5. And frankly, I'd take the under again.
5.5. Yeah. So
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think they're very good. I think they have two incredibly high talented players in Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders. Outside of that, I could care less about this team. All year long, you'll hear this from me.
yeah. So it would be great for us if Colorado was really good to put you in a
Oh, put me in a
pretzel. That'd be
box like that.
fantastic.
Yeah, no, but
I do have the over. I do have over 5.5 for the record, Colorado.
yeah,
So
whatever.
I would need this one. You lose this one, they got a pretty bumpy schedule. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. After that, you roll into Saturday, 11 o'clock kickoff, a game I would call the biggest draw as far as Saturday's games go. Clemson versus Georgia. This is going to be played at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. Over under 48.5. You can find you can find Georgia minus 13.5. You can get Clemson plus 14 every once in a while. It blips up on there. You got anything for this?
That's my thoughts on Clemson. I still not using the transfer portal. It's
Yeah,
really it's adapt or die. That's the way it's always been in
yeah,
this great country of the USA. And he's not adapting, so let Clemson die. Let him blow away. Dabo will get fired. For no reason do I think they're going to hang with the dogs, the team who's
yeah,
constantly favored or top three in the national title for the last 5 years now. I don't think Clemson can even hang with them.
yeah. I don't know if you saw Dabo Sweeney. He's had a radio show, a local one, and
Yeah,
as of today, he said no more callers calling in. So
great. So he's soft
he's
too.
take
Yeah, here
he's
we go.
taking a page out of Prime's book, I guess.
Here we go.
That's crazy. Like he's
Yeah.
had the show for years, and he just decided, like last year when they started 4-4, it got a little too hard for him.
I
Like,
mean,
come on, man.
think about this. Clemson at one point was the declared team to
Yeah,
take down Alabama and potentially Georgia to defeat the SEC, strip them of their powers,
yeah.
and here they are. Here they are, 14-point dogs against
Transfer portal.
Georgia. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
happens when you don't adapt or die.
yeah. I like this game a lot. I put out a short earlier this week. This is one of my favorite bets of the week. I think that Clemson, their biggest strength is their defensive line. Georgia's returning 4 offensive linemen. All 4 of those guys are probably going to have NFL jerseys on next year.
Yeah,
I mean, this is as close to an NFL line as you're going to get in college. Trevor Etienne, Florida transfer, top
yeah,
running back in the country, top 5 running back.
right.
Carson Beck coming back. Um, I mean, Heisman candidate, high-powered offense. Georgia was 7th in the country in points per game allowed last year, 5th in the country in points per game. So all Georgia did in the offseason was get better.
Yeah,
They feel like
there's no
they
steps back.
actually,
Yeah,
right, they think they should have been playing in the playoff last year.
100%. Yeah,
And, they lost that game to Alabama, a little bit of recency bias
right, right.
from that fresh game. But Georgia
Yeah,
is the most depth team in the country.
yeah.
This game opened up at 15.5 for Georgia, laying 15.5. So it's been bet down quite a bit from some people that were high on Clemson. I just think that
Yeah,
you're asking them to win by a couple touchdowns. I think the likelihood's pretty dang good.
yeah.
If
Can't
you
see it.
wanted to take a flyer on a teaser, if you wanted to tease it down to 9.5, I think that's a fairly safe bet. But 13.5 right now, you're paying. You can get it minus 105. DraftKings right now, so that's a pretty good price.
Yeah, I just to really close on that, I just thoughts on Georgia being they're in the top five consistently in odds to win the championship. So
Yeah,
it's if they were even to stub a toe against Clemson, they could drop in ranking. I mean, we realistically we know they're not gonna for clicks. I'd love to say they'll fall 2 spots, but they let's just hope they cover, they win, they move on.
yeah, I think so. That's about it. I mean, that game, it'll be
Yeah,
fun to watch, but at the same time, we're getting our, greasing our bearings for college football. It'll be
yeah,
better to reflect on games from last week, as
right,
we
right.
continue on with this stuff. Up next, I think this will be the potentially most fun game to watch. Hostile atmosphere, Miami going to the swamp playing Florida.
Whew.
Ethan's ACC winning Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, this is gonna
And
be
this
a big one.
big game for your
Huge,
Canes.
huge write up. First game out of the gates. They've got to come out firing. I need to see Cam Ward do a lot of stuff. I need to see the Cam Ward from Washington State early season. I need to see him come out running the ball, throwing the ball, getting it done. Less turnovers, play
Yeah.
smart. Miami needs to impress me because if they lose to Florida, and Florida is not supposed to be good this year, so if they lose to Florida, you can cancel that bet. I will not believe in Miami, but that's probably the best game on the schedule I think right now. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be a fun one for sure. But I still like Miami in this one.
I do too. Over under 54. You can find 54 and a half a little bit if you're betting the under. Florida +3, Miami you can get -2.5. Um, if it were not in the swamp, I mean, I think this could be like Miami by 6.5. But
Right,
like
it would the line would flip. Yeah,
that is an actual hostile environment.
100%. One of the
They're going to be
toughest
juiced
places to
up in
play.
Gainesville, just hammered college kids sweating. It's going to be humid and
Ooh, it's gonna be
disgusting there.
yeah, it's gonna be nasty. I mean, you got to
This is
think.
kind of. Go ahead.
Oh, you got to think that like their schedule is so brutal this year.
It's
And
horrible.
what's their over under on wins? It's like 4.5 or 5. It's nothing
It's
big.
3.5 or four
Three
and a
and a half,
half.
three and a
It's
half. We'll say
brutal.
it's pretty bad. So like right out the gate, they get to play their biggest game, and they could upset their
Yeah.
rival and potentially ruin their rival season. So
Yeah.
it's right there for them. Florida's going to come out with juices, but is their quarterback still Graham Mertz?
I believe so. I
Yeah,
wouldn't know
I
for
don't, I
sure.
don't, I don't think anything major is going to happen for Florida. They're a couple years away again, but it's still going to be a fun game because Florida being the home team. But I would
Yeah,
take
they'll be
Miami.
up.
Yeah, I'd take Miami all day, and I don't know necessarily if I would like the over on this. I think this might be an under game. You're going to have tired players out there.
Yeah. Real quick, Florida schedule. Here's a few of the teams they play. So they start with number 19 Miami, then they play Texas A&M, number 15 Tennessee, number 1 Georgia, number 4 Texas, number 13 LSU, number 6 Ole Miss, and number 10 Florida State.
I count 7 losses right there. It's
So the boys got to beat Miami, and then they play some lighter games. Samford, Mississippi State, who's not a pushover,
right,
UCF, and
right.
Kentucky. So
Yeah, no,
brutal for the boys.
it's unreal. Florida's been down for a little bit now, and I don't think they're going to get out of this for a minute. They're going to have to pay a quarterback immediately in order to start moving
Which sucks
forward.
because like Florida's a fun team when they're good.
Oh, very much. Like the Tim Tebow era was one of my favorite eras of college football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on, night game. I'm excited for this one. Notre Dame visiting Texas A&M.
Caulfield.
Opened up almost to pick 'em. I think it was a point
Yeah,
and a half.
it
Notre
was
Dame.
point and a half.
Notre Dame had some offensive linemen health issues, so their best
Yeah.
offensive lineman's out. You can now get Notre Dame +3 or A&M -2.5.
Mhm.
Over under is 46.5. You are a lot more of a Notre Dame guy than I am. You got anything?
I just every year a lot of Chicagoans try to tell themselves Notre Dame it's their year. Um, and the whole Chicago Notre Dame connection is because no one cheers for Northwestern, so it's Notre Dame. And last year I sold myself. I think they started 3-0, right? I think it was three
You
and
were
zero.
high
I
on
was
them.
ready. Sam Hartman, the beautiful hair, good looking quarterback. I thought they were going to have a good year. This year, I my biggest thing with Notre Dame is every 4 years it seems they have a cupcake schedule, and maybe there's one rock in that schedule this is one of those years where I think Notre Dame, as long as they take care of business, and Kyle Field is no joke, it's
Yeah,
not going to be easy, an SEC team. But if they win this, I immediately will have faith that they can make the college football playoff.
I think if you win Saturday night, they have the only tough teams on their schedule are Louisville. I guess now you could say Georgia Tech, Florida State, and then USC. But other than that,
Yeah,
Notre Dame has to win 10 games and they're in the college football playoff
100%.
because that's
This is
tons
yeah.
of money and draw.
This is their season. I mean, the college football playoff was almost made for them. They'll
Yeah,
The best part about it is the top four conference winners get the four seeds, correct? So
with a bye.
conference winners get the top four seeds. So they're going to be guaranteed a five seed and a home game against I don't who small seed who's going to make it. So
Yeah,
it's going to be they're set up for a good year. I'm really excited for Notre Dame, but again, just like Miami, week one, it's like we're going to see what you're made of. Because Florida State, they thought they were going to wake up and be number 10 in the country, and look at them. They got thumped by Georgia
that
Tech.
rocked.
Yeah, that was a
Sorry.
fun
Sorry,
game.
Florida State. Yeah, I don't. I've always kind of faded Notre Dame. Last year I wasn't too high on them. I've never had that allegiance to them, so I don't want to be a hater. I don't think I'll be betting that game. I say that now, but over under I might just do the. It's not fun to bet the Saturday night game and under,
No, you
so
never want to bet unders. Life's too short.
yeah, I don't know. I think I might take Notre Dame in the points.
Yeah, that might be fun. I think if you keep an eye, well, no, if you keep an eye on the spread, I feel like it might move towards Notre Dame come game time. Peacock, I'm sure. So I'd probably take the plus three right now while you can.
Yeah, +3, -110. I mean, just for watching pleasures. I think there's bets you make where you're trying to be a sharp, and then there's
Right.
bets you place because it's Saturday night and you just want to
Have some
have a
action.
beer,
Yeah,
text
yeah.
your boys, and all. Like, that's a game like we get in on the same bet,
Oh yeah, 100%. Notre
and then
Dame.
Saturday night you're just
Yeah,
texting back and forth,
yeah.
sending memes and
So
gifs.
do you want to declare that as the show bet? Plus three
Show
Notre
bet
Dame?
Notre Dame +3.
I think maybe that could be our first show bet, our first official show bet of the year.
Ride with the bottom shelf. We're
There you
betting
go.
Notre Dame +3. We're all in it together.
There you go. It's that.
First show bet. I
Yeah,
couldn't tell you
yeah.
Texas A&M's quarterback, but we're doing it.
Sure. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Now we're in.
All right, lock it in. I'm betting Notre Dame +3 against every bone in my body, but we're
There
doing
we
it.
go.
Um, that wraps up Saturday. So Labor Day weekend, we do have some action Sunday night. LSU is going are playing USC, so this game is being played in Las Vegas. USC you can get +4.5, LSU -4, over under 64 points. Two teams
Oh,
that had
man.
very bad defenses last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Back-to-back Heisman winners. We got Jaden Daniels and we got the GOAT Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
So
the future NFL Hall of Famer Caleb Williams, but no longer
yeah,
there.
yeah,
My interest level on this game, unfortunately, is kind of low. USC and LSU, I think it has to do with them being so bad last year that I'm sure I'll turn it on. I'll be interested, but as of right now, I'm so focused on other games that this one kind of takes the back
yeah.
seat.
You've always kind of not liked LSU.
Yeah, it's not that I'm anti LSU. I just sometimes
I don't know.
I don't get the hype around it. There's I mean, I don't know. I've rooted for LSU in moments like against Alabama, but I think I just a lot of SEC teams I don't care about. Big Ten country, Washington Huskies, the best Big Ten team.
What? Yeah, and this is a Big Ten SEC matchup.
Right, yeah. So I mean USC being it,
US
but I've
USC's
hated
playing
them.
LSU in Las Vegas. This is a Big Ten SEC
Oh,
matchup. Well, welcome to 2024, pal, where
oh,
money is real.
it's so gross. And it's like for the longest time, you're aware, I've been a huge USC hater. Being a Washington Huskies fan, but also like LA and like it's always the money and they never do anything ever. Ever since Matt Leinart, they've been
As
nothing.
of late, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of them. LSU, I've got nothing. I've got nothing on the actual game. I've got nothing on the actual game.
I'm probably going to bet LSU, or excuse me, I'm probably going to bet the over 64. I think points would be fun to root for
Mhm.
Monday night. Couple interesting things I found. USC is 31-15 straight up against SEC teams.
Oh,
Pretty solid.
yeah, that's fine.
Season openers, USC 98-24 with 36 shutouts.
Wow, that's quite
If
a
that
bit.
doesn't
Yeah,
tell you that the normal thing to do if you're a
is
big
a
Power Five
cupcake.
school is pay a really bad team
Yes,
to come
yes.
and just beat the shit out of them.
It's so
36
yeah.
shutouts. That
That's
is
not even nice.
20% of their home openers have been
It's
shutouts.
not even nice, and that's why week one is so difficult too to look at stats. It
Yeah.
was hard to come in here and be like, well, Notre Dame in week one because half the time Notre Dame is playing again like NCAA football. They're playing FCS Southwest, Southeast,
Yeah.
when just nobody's school. So it,
No preseason, with the transfer
yeah,
portal. They're
right,
almost brand new teams every single year now.
yeah,
So week one's super hard.
yeah. It's
Um,
a lot of big spreads. What's the spread on this game?
so we got 4.5. If you're wanting to get the points for USC, you can get -4 for LSU.
Okay, okay. I've got no side on this one.
I think if you were going to bet USC plus 4.5 is off a key number, and I think that's pretty good. LSU covering 4. Oof, I don't know. If there's a lot of points, you're asking a
Yeah,
lot if it ends in a field goal.
right. And that I don't think this one's going to end in field goal. Definitely a touchdown.
Yeah. That kind of wraps up the top matchups. One thing I wanted to point out, which is a strategy that I don't know might be good to consider if you're just getting into gambling and college football can be very overwhelming because it's like impossible to be an expert with this stuff
Right.
unless you
Yeah.
follow it religiously. And honestly, you
125
probably need to
teams.
follow like conference by conference.
It's tough. There's so many teams. Your brain can only hold so much data. And
Yeah,
when you're like I watch hockey, soccer, I'm watching NFL, college. College does kind of take a backseat to a lot of this.
it's not an easy gig being a sports fan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, total.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
With week one, something to pay attention to are the biggest line movers. A couple of the week zero teams that played, there's what I think are pretty big overreactions. Troy, who is a pretty solid football team,
Very much.
Nevada last week covering was massive for them. So Troy was -15.5 7 days ago. Right now, you can get Troy at 9.
Oh wow. Okay.
So there's
I
some
like Troy.
lines here that there's been a
Yeah.
giant overcorrection. That's
Okay.
one of the biggest ones I found. UCLA playing Hawaii. So this opened up UCLA -18.5. Currently, you can get UCLA -13.5.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
Hawaii looked like dog shit Saturday night.
yeah, I don't think that looks any good, but that there's it's when you're early on like this is where you gotta take advantage of they know as much as us right now. So it's an
That's what I
even
think.
playing field. Yeah.
I think you fade the big movers. Like I think you
100%. I
take
agree.
Troy. I think you take
I agree with
9.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you take Troy laying 9. I think you take UCLA laying 13.5.
Yeah.
And another one. So this one, like I said earlier, Notre Dame and A&M. This is kind of injury related, so that's different. But this opened up a pick 'em, so it was going a half point either way.
Yeah.
And now you can
Yeah.
get +3 with Notre Dame. Show bet.
Right. Show bet. Take it right off the bottom shelf.
Take it right off the bottom shelf.
The bottom shelf bet for you. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some other ones that really are. I mean, unless we
I
want to talk about
think
the
I
Kennesaw State Owls versus
I've
UTSA Roadrunners.
one of the sillier bets I put was Michigan State took the over in that game. I want to say it was 45
Because the quarterback told
because
you
the
to.
quarterback told me to take the over. So I said, you know what? I'm a believer, and in this day and age where players like almost aren't allowed to talk about spreads or anything, I'm
That
like,
was weird.
if you
He
take
could.
yeah,
I think he could get in trouble.
100%. And I'm like, you know what? That's a little shout out to the gamblers out there, D-gens gambling on 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll take it. I'll take the over. I'll buy your word, sir.
So I think it was sitting at 44.5. When he said
Mhm.
that, it jumped up to 47 points. I heard that today on the
Oh,
VSiN channel.
goodness,
And then
goodness.
right now, I think Sharp saw that skyrocket. Now it's back 45.5.
Yeah, I
So
saw 45 and a half, and I think I'm gonna touch up with that. Um, I don't think I have any other ones, anything major at least. It's just there's so many like 20 and 30 point spreads. It was
yeah.
kind of tough. I'm trying to look through my book right now and see where I am. I don't.
So we got Ethan's going to take the points with North Dakota State. maybe a little bit of money line. We'll post
Yeah.
all this stuff on next week's show. We'll post the bets we put in and
Right.
then the records we had.
Yeah.
Ethan's going to take the points with North Dakota State. I think you're going to play Georgia 13.5.
Yeah, I'll take 13.5. Yeah.
We got show bet Notre Dame +3.
Show bet off the bottom shelf. The bottom
And
shelf
then
bet.
if you're wanting to follow along, we both use JuiceReel. I'll
Mhm.
put my name up here, Ethan's name down there, along with our Twitter names, just in case you want to follow along. I'll put all the bets we're going to be playing before they start on Saturday. I'm not going to lie, I got a loaded card. I got 14 bets in last night.
I don't have that many. I think just today I put the Colorado State 32.5 just to hang in with Texas. That's otherwise I don't have a lot. I want to just kind of enjoy this week.
Ease into week one.
Yeah, let's ease into it. Yeah.
One other one I'll touch on real quick. Like I said, I've got a lot of plays I like a lot. I also like Oklahoma to cover 41.5 versus Temple. I think Temple is one of the three worst teams in the country. They are 4-12 on the road against the spread the past three seasons. So really bad team traveling to
Yeah.
Oklahoma, home opener, new SEC. I think Oklahoma beats the piss out of them. 41.5 seems like a lot unless you're playing a team that can't score.
Yeah, yeah. I don't they might even get a shutout, so that's going to be another ugly one.
But we'll post those bets. Keep you guys up with everything. Did you have anything else for us, Ethan?
I don't think I have much else. Just enjoy the sports while we got them right now because 4 weeks ago, I would have begged to watch Colorado State try to cover a
Exactly.
32.5 line. So just enjoy everything you can, but also spend time with family, just a little bit.
Do it now before we get into
Yeah,
the thick of it.
right. Yes, yes, I agree.
That's why I asked that question earlier. We're going to our nephew's football game on Saturday, and I was like, "Oof."
Ooh, ooh.
I was like, "All right, I can get away with it still now."
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
so it's like that's why I was asking. At what point are you a dick if you bail on something? That's
That's
something I'm going
tough.
to go to.
That's tough. I get it though. You're still watching football. Either way, you're watching football.
Still watching football.
There you go.
Might get the iPhone out and do a little scrolling and checking out scores,
Yeah,
but
that's gonna be
I can
awesome.
sacrifice 2 hours.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Ethan, shut this thing down.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Don't forget to like and
There you
subscribe.
go.
Thank you
That's
for
it.
watching.
Yep.